A microenvironment is the immediate small-scale environment surrounding an organism. This is a distinct part of a larger environment. Microorganisms are found in various environments, including the ocean. Microorganisms living in the ocean respire two different ways, aerobically and anaerobically. Most living in the ocean respire aerobically, but anaerobic occurs in anoxic waters, where water is depleted of oxygen. These utilize nitrogen and sulfate to respire. Large permanent depleted waters oxygen depleted waters are called oxygen minimum zones, or OMZs for short. These are mainly occur in largely tropical and subtropical zones. OMZs result in microbe-dominant communities of anaerobic metabolism due to the lack of oxygen. The largest OMZs occur in areas of persistent nutrient upwellings. These zones form under layers of water containing high productivity. OMZs upwell and result in largely nitrogen-limited surface primary production.
Now, trapped carbon has a particularly nasty effect of trapping the sun's radiation and heat over the earth. And this gradual increasing of temperature due to trapped carbon and other pollutants is called global warming. So why is global warming important? Well, if you follow me over here to this little sketch, this is the marine oceans of the earth. And as the temperature of the earth increases, so are its marine waters. And why is this important? Well, as marine temperature increases, oxygen gas content actually decreases in oceans. And these lead to OMZs, which, as we said earlier, are deoxygenated marine zones. And what happens here, as the Earth's waters are holding less oxygen, a nasty gas is being released called nitrous oxide. And what nitrous oxide does is only reinforce what carbon dioxide does to the atmosphere, which is trap heat and surrounded around the Earth, which only, again, creates this new domino effect of Earth temperatures increasing and marine temperatures going up.
So what is the nitrogen cycle in marine ecosystems? Well, the nitrogen cycle, as you can see in this diagram, begins with external detritus from land animals and external bodies, and dead animals in the ocean and dead organisms like plants accumulating at the bottom and decomposing. This decomposition process results in ammonification, which turns organic nitrogen molecules into ammonium, which undergoes nitrification. During nitrification, the nitrogen atoms transfer from nitrite to nitrate, which is eventually consumed by algae and nitrogen-fixing bacteria. It's also denitrified in some situations, which removes it entirely from the oxygen atoms and deposits it in the atmosphere. And this nitrogen in the atmosphere travels abundantly throughout the world, but it does eventually end up back through nitrogen fixation and turns into ammonium again. But with the regards to the algae and the nitrogen-fixing bacteria, those eventually get consumed by primary consumers, which in turn get consumed by secondary consumers, and so on. Those consumers eventually die and decompose, and the nitrogen cycle begins again.
And what this is showing is the change of oxygen content of the oceans. And what we're seeing here is that the bluer parts are changes in, or huge decreases in oxygen of the oceans. And this is all due to global warming, because as I said earlier, as the heat increases, the water gas is released. Over here, we have another similar diagram that's showing the change of denitrification. It's not as prominent as a change in oxygen, but it's still very important because, as I said, as the gas content of the ocean decreases, it's also releasing nitrous oxide, which is accounting for this change in denitrification.
Anaerobic respiration is more widespread than previously estimated. It actually expands far outside of the world's three major OMZs. On these two charts, anaerobic metabolic pathways, denitrification, and sulfate reduction should only be occurring in the estimated black zones of the three major OMZs. However, as you can see, it appears that the concentration extends far outside of those boundaries. How could this be? This is due to nutrient-rich marine snow, particles of organic matter such as dead plankton cells and zooplankton feces that clump together. Sinking in oxic waters around the world, anaerobic microorganisms do particularly well in this highly nutrient-rich snow because the clumps of marine snow produce anoxic zones. Microorganisms are attracted to nutrient-rich marine snow, and so many often around the snow, respiring that all oxygen in the surrounding water is depleted. This way, in otherwise highly oxygenated waters, far from the suboxic OMZs, anaerobic metabolism occurs nearly worldwide.
To tie this all together, anaerobic respiration occurs outside of OMZs in organic marine snow. This is very important. It alters our current understanding of both the nitrogen cycle and anaerobic respiration, meaning they can both respond to global warming in new ways. Thank you for watching our presentation. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and do the vlog whenever you have time.